What it do, baby?
What it do?
On my quad stuff. You are now watching the J.U.K Boyz Sports Show. I'm your host, King Rob, here with my co-host, Kai. What's happening, bro? How you feeling, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Feeling good, man. We at the cribby.
Back to the crib.
Right. It's a hot, humid day in Vegas, baby. But feeling good. Feel like I'm looking good. Shout out to the social loaners for the hat, for the gear. We gonna jump right in though, man. There's been a lot of talks about whether or not players should be protesting the Olympics. Let me look what her name was. I know her name was Gwen. You have it up.
I can pull it up. One second.
Say Gwen Berry.
Gwen Berry.
Gwen Berry wins. I think she gets third in her competition. Mm-hmm. She's a hammer thrower. Gets third in the hammer throw. Turns her back on the flag during the national anthem. Do you think the Olympics or the trials is the right time for players or athletes to be protesting, showing protest?
I'll put it like this. I feel like the Olympic trials, the Olympics, is probably the biggest stage that you can protest.
Right.
I think, and I'm going to actually say, people, anything that you say, people are going to have an opinion with, but I don't have a problem with it. And the reason being is because, one, it's probably the most important time you can do it, the biggest time you can do it, sure, and the time we're going to get the most exposure.
Right.
Because you think about it, countries all over the world are watching, from our United States to Japan to whatever. So if you want to send a message, that's the time to do it.
Right.
We can go back to the 1968 Mexico City Olympics when we had the Black Power and the Black Fist.
Right.
During the track athletes. Yep. Everyone knows the symbol. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I actually believe that if you're going to make a message, that message right there in that time period actually isn't necessarily a bad time period. Now people are going to have some type of way in how they feel about whether or not, how can you do it? It's the flag, right? But that's it. It's the country, and we also have freedom of speech.
Right.
Well. So she didn't violate any type of laws. Now the question is, what are you protesting, and what the cause? So that's the thing that people will obviously have to determine that. Right. But the time period of itself, and due to the exposure that it's gotten, the attention that it's gotten, obviously, the job was complete. So that's my take on it.
I personally think that there's been a history of protest at the Olympics. Mm-hmm. I think that I never liked that whole if you don't like it, get out type of thing that people do, and that part really frustrates me, because if you go through, even if it just you're strictly talking about there we have a history of nobody. There's a rare select handful of people, and we can get into history and all of that a whole nother time. But to just make it short, through history, there's blacks and natives that were already here,
right,
prior to Columbus getting here. And it's like, for the people that want to sit there and argue that, we can have that conversation another time. But outside of those handful of people, everybody else has migrated here from someone else. So for you to feel like, oh, if you don't like it, you should leave, what makes and I always thought that was
it's ignorant.
It's very ignorant, but it's also like, if you think about it from that standpoint, every relationship, if I'm not happy, why try to fix it? I just can't be unhappy with how something is working or going along, and it's like, it's stuff like that. People irritate me with that, because I can't, just like I said, if I'm unhappy in a relationship, all right, cool, leave. But at the same time, you are doing the country a disservice by not trying to make it better. And because it's not just because I feel something great doesn't mean that someone else may feel the same way. There's certain times, I just was having this conversation with my dad earlier today. I can leave Gold Spike on Fremont at a certain point and walk to my car by myself, and I don't ever think about nothing happening to me. Like the other night, last week we had a guys' night. We went to Goats Fight. I walked my car, did my little drunk walk. After shooting my shot, getting shut down, I do my little drunk walk to the car. At no point in my mind did I think something could happen to me. Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of women who would not do that same walk in that same dark parking lot that I was in because by themselves. And it's like, just because how you view things and how you look at things doesn't, and how life has happened for you, doesn't mean that everybody has that same walk of life or experience within the life itself. So I just think that that's where I like it, because it brings up the conversation, especially from her point of view. She brought up, now we're getting back to talk about Gwen Berry.
Yeah.
She spoke about how normally they do the national anthem at the beginning of the event. And that's it. Now, at this point, she feels like, because I've been so outspoken, now you're doing it again. And it's a setup. And in my personal mind, if that's how she takes it, then I believe she's allowed to have that personal opinion.
Like she can have that opinion.
Right.
No problem with that.
Right. And I think that's where I just like the conversation of the matter.
She got it started.
Right.
And that's the key for me here, is actually, having people engage in the actual dialogue of what she's referring to in this matter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like just the timing and the event, the timing of the event was actually perfect in this situation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely don't have an issue with it. And it was pretty smart to me. So
right. I definitely agree. I totally agree with it. I'm cool with it. I have no problem with it.
And you're not gonna be able to please everybody.
Exactly.
And the point for her wasn't. I don't think. Excuse me. I don't think the point for her wasn't to please anybody. It was to bring attention to an issue.
Right.
So
true. Which is, I think that's one thing that, in order to, I think too often we think about making people comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think with some conversations, you have to make people uncomfortable in order to be able to come through on the other side and make things better.
Yeah.
And so yeah, let us know what you think, whether or not athletes should be protesting or if they shouldn't. We're gonna move on to the next topic. Lamar Jackson. Whether or not you believe in and follow Pro Football Focus, I told my dad when I was introducing my dad and my mom, shout out to y'all, very supportive. They always ask me like, oh, what are your topics going to be today? So I always shoot them and talk to them like, hey, these are my topics. Who knows interested? I'm definitely going to tune in. So I was like, yeah, Lamar Jackson left out of Pro Football Focus's top 50 players in the league. This is both offense and defense. So I do get that there are a lot of good players on offense and defense on both sides of the ball at all different positions. But at the same coin, they have this man at outside. They have him in your under 25 within these are the top 5 in your 25 and under club. Right. But then at the same coin, you have Josh Allen, you have AJ Brown, which are 2 people that are under 25, and they have him under on that ranking of under 25 players, but then they have him outside of the top 50. Yeah. Is Pro Football Focus tripping or?
Yeah, they're tripping. They're tripping, and I wanted to kind of add some either further context to that. They responded by saying, "Oh, this isn't just the list didn't just take into account one position, right? As if that's supposed to somehow lessen the blow,
right?
Cornerbacks, wide receivers. Oh, we factor in all these things. Okay, first and foremost, they're tripping because he's a league MVP. What league MVP within the past 2 years, right, on an historic offense, right? Okay, would coming into this season in his prime, it hasn't even reached his peak yet. Some people say, "Oh, he already peaked." No, he didn't peak. Whereas you already said, well, there's certain areas of the game he can still improve. He's in the top 50 player, right?
Right.
What is this? And then, I'm not sure if you have the list, if you're able to bring it up, but they had previously ranked their top 10 quarterbacks at the time, and he was actually, I believe, if I don't want to be mistaken, he was number 7 in the top 10, right? And I think he was only behind Tom Brady at that particular moment. So there's a level of the gears in my head go in my head. It's like I see hypocrisy here Something's not adding up. He's playing the toughest position in football. He's won a league MVP in spite of having a true number one receiver. Now you give him you draft additional weaponry. You bring in the requisite wide receiver coaches and Keith Martin, who worked with the Devontae Adams, who worked with the Tyreek Hill. You bring in a T. Martin, Robert Woods, all that. But we can go ahead and talk about that. You talk about Dak Prescott, and you project what Dak Prescott would have done.
Right.
Okay? But you don't take into account, or you don't care, that Lamar Jackson missed those games and he got COVID. Oh, okay. And then closing out, after COVID, what did he do? His first game back. He plays Cleveland on a Monday Night Football in prime time, right?
Right.
He comes back after having cramps. He gets in and he throws a touchdown pass to Hollywood Brown and he wins that game. And some people said that was the game of the year.
Right.
Come back, you know what I'm saying? Oh, then he wins his playoff game against a contender in the Tennessee Titans. Right, that was a demon for the Ravens.
Right.
So, and then he had got concussed in the championship game, and Buffalo wasn't just like beating the brakes off him,
Right.
So there's like they had injuries. So you add those factors up, and come on, man, you know what I'm saying? Dak Prescott, he's all based off the run. When Lamar Jackson is the catalyst for the Baltimore Ravens offense. Yes, they have a good defense. I do that. It's the catalyst defense. The wide receiver core was bottom of the league. That wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault.
Right.
They have a run-centric offense, but he can pass the ball. He's led the league in touchdown passes. Oh, and winning percentage, my last point is that he played to win the game, as Herb Edwards says.
Right.
And out of the quarterbacks in his draft, who has the highest win percentage? Lamar Jackson. He's won the most games. He has the highest win percentage against those guys. Baker Mayfield is in his division as a direct rival. He has the head-to-head win-loss record on Baker Mayfield.
Right.
And Josh Rosen, guys that people have said he could be better than Lamar Jackson. Where's Josh Rosen?
Right.
So you could tell I could go on for days, but I just kind of really want to provide some strong context behind the reason why Lamar Jackson is a top 50 player. Quite frankly, Lamar Jackson, to me, is in the top 20, top 15, if not even higher. You know what I'm saying? So that's it without going long. And I'm not even coming out with any vitriol or hate. I'm just trying to be objective with the situation. So, what do you kind of add? I know I kind of
you good, man. Like for me, man, I just want to sit here I'm right. We got like according to Pro Football Focus, they got Mahomes at 1, Tom Brady at 2, Aaron Rodgers at 3, Russell Wilson at 4, Deshaun at 5, Josh at 6, Dak at 7, and then Lamar at 8.
Yeah, and Deshaun's not playing right now.
So let's just straight up go. We're gonna go up. I'm gonna rank him according to this list.
Okay.
So when it comes to Dak Prescott, he was balling out. I'm not even gonna sit here and argue.
Probably like his best season.
Is his definitely his best season. He ended up having as many touchdowns as Daniel Jones had, and we know someone played a full season and someone did not. So let's just look at from that context, and he got hurt in week 5. Now that should show you how balling he was. A much of the season he was balling. But when it comes to versus Lamar, look at the weapons that Dak has. Wasn't it? First of all, Lamar is pretty much Dak and Zeke in one. Yeah. So just from that standpoint, just from looking from a weapons standpoint, J.K. Dobbins, in my personal opinion, he adds something in the passing game that Zeke doesn't add. But as far as just a straight running back, he's not Zeke. Then they don't have an Amari Cooper. They don't have C. Lamb. They don't have Gallup. Like, you have a 3-headed monster at wide receiver and a plethora of weapons.
And a strong O-line.
And it's so, of course, the passing numbers when your defense is trash and you're always trying to throw the ball, obviously your passing numbers are going to look better. So, like, I totally feel like Lamar is definitely a better player than Dak is. And especially this person has been in the league for longer than this other person has been. And so at that point, I'm like, nah. Then Josh Allen, we weren't talking about Josh Allen being a top 5 quarterback until last season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I believe he progressed? Yes. But not to a point where you progress to a level that you should have been the MVP.
Right. Like every year now, it seems like, he's going to win the MVP. He's going to be the best quarterback in class and get the max contract.
Right.
That's the talk.
That's the talk. And it's like, that's not the case. That's not what's really happening here. Lamar has already won an MVP. Mm-hmm. So how can you have someone ranked higher than someone when this person, Lamar won an MVP and this person didn't? So how can you have this person ranked higher than this person? And that's only one season removed from there. Mm-hmm. So then at that point, then you have a Stephon Diggs who is mid-prime and got something to prove. So of course I'm gonna at the end of the day, when everything buckles down, every top 5 quarterback, everybody in front of him has someone that when things get rough, they have at least one person that they could throw to outside of Deshaun Watson, maybe. Which at one point he had DeAndre Hopkins, but after that he had a Will Fuller. But then Will Fuller is still better than any wide receiver that
pretty much
that Lamar had.
Because Hollywood can't always beat press man, and he's not pushed out.
Right.
Out of bounds, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to believe in Hollywood and what he can be. Now he did show up in the playoffs, actually.
Right.
But can he be consistent?
Yeah.
In the regular season for strong number 2? Because he's not number 1 that people thought he would be.
Because I do think that a lot of these playoff, these Pro Football Focus, their rankings is based on stuff that's going to happen in the regular season.
Right.
I don't think I think eventually the top tier ones will be people that they think that can make moves in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I do think that they're going based off of the numbers this person put up and the numbers this person will put up. And that's why I think that when it comes to this, it's like I'm not putting Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson, especially when it comes from just an individual talent standpoint.
I agree.
Then we're going to go to Deshaun Watson. Now, for the people.
And I like Deshaun.
This is one of the people that we are not bringing up nothing from a legal standpoint because I don't have all the facts. Right. And so I'm strictly talking football here. This is one of the people I do not have Lamar in front of, though. I know Lamar has won an MVP and Deshaun has not.
That's fair.
But I just don't think from passing, clutch, prior to this legal trouble, like even the on and off the field things, he really stayed out of trouble up until the legal stuff. And then just even in college, now you can say at that point, Clemson versus Louisville, the talent level, Lamar still held his own.
Yeah, it was pretty much a one-man offense.
Yeah, right.
He was a fourth down play as receiver if he just went for the first down.
Right.
But continue.
And so at that point, then we're going to go to Russell Wilson, another person I don't think he's better than.
Russell Wilson, I think, is the best quarterback in the NFC.
Right.
For me, over Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And then at that point, you got Aaron Rodgers. And then, I do personally, I don't think that Tom Brady is the second best quarterback in the NFL.
No, he's not. Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
Mentally, he's the best. Though.
Yeah.
Mentally, he's another level.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Because even in that Packers game, the Packers were in the game, and there was in that second half, Tom Brady played like Jake Delhomme, bro. And with not even the Panthers, Jake Delhomme. He was playing like Cleveland Browns, Jake Delhomme.
Oh.
He was throwing ducks.
Brian Greasy.
Yeah, man. It was terrible. The ball looked awful. It was hanging, a lot of interceptions. And I just don't think that's so. Out of the people in the top 5, I think that Lamar is a top 5 quarterback. Projecting and looking at what he's able to do today, given what he has. Tom Brady has Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Scottie Miller, and Gronk and Chris Godwin. Fournette and was RJ?
Yeah.
Ron Jones? Like, come on,
Jones,
bro, he has a plethora of weapons and minds that other teams don't have. Aaron Rodgers still has a Devontae Adams.
Oh, Devontae Adams is the best receiver.
And is the best. Yeah. Like nobody was close to him in the amount of separation he created.
He was torching number 1 corner.
Right.
like basic, like light work.
Right. He gave Jalen Ramsey some work.
I was gonna mention too, to kind of add on to your point about the Pro Football Focus. I like how you talked about what their kind of base or the way they view certain things. They're very analytical.
Right.
And I always say, analytics are supposed to be used as a tool.
Right.
Don't be over reliant. That's what I hate about the NBA, right?
Right.
So use them as a tool. This list, I think, is garbage. But even because it doesn't have more.
Right.
Now, so it's automatically garbage, not just because the Ravens fan, but because he gave you objective points. But use the analytics as a tool, but don't be over reliant on it, because what Pro Football Focus fails to look into, right, is intangibles. There's leadership intangibles that Lamar Jackson has.
Right.
He doesn't always have to be winning, but he's winning and winning, right? So he does those different things. Just like if you're going to rank Tom Brady off certain intangibles that he had as a player from a mental standpoint, there's things that all those guys do. That's what makes him great. That's what makes Russell Wilson great. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers, I think, is actually kind of shaky. I'm not going to lie. But I think skill set wise, he's just so much better than everybody else outside of the Patrick Mahomes. So he's always going to be in that top tier.
Right.
So just off the intangibles alone, Lamar Jackson and his athletic ability and what he would do with winning, makes him a top 50 player in the league. But he's higher than top 50. He's in the top 25, top 10.
Right.
Now, once he gets some more postseason success, I believe you can start to see him skyrocket. But he's clearly the best quarterback of the draft. Baker Mayfield is not better than him.
Right. Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, man, that's that. Let us know what you think. Do you think Lamar Jackson is a top 50 player at this point? Last night, Clippers and Suns had an opportunity to close it out. Clippers stretch out the series to 6, but up until last night, everybody had the Suns definitely going to the finals. I'm not 100% sure, because I do still think that the Clippers can beat the Suns, but that's not the point of this conversation. Let's just say Suns beat Clippers, Suns go to the next round. They win a finals. CP3 gets his ring. In this scenario, what does this mean for Chris Paul's legacy?
Great and Steph Curry. The Warriors fan just threw something like,
right,
what?
Right.
But no, it means everything for the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? I think for him,
right,
because that's the one that the media pundits continue to put him out. They call him CP0. Certain names I'm not going to mention on his platform.
Right.
But CP3, every team that he's gone to, he's improved.
Right.
And I'm not knocking Monty Williams for being a coach. I'm not doing it, right? But I saw when Billy Donovan was in the running and all that. CP3 is an extension of the head coach, but the head coach on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, these coaches, they kind of, and I'm trying to put this right, because I actually like Monty Williams. But I'll put it like this. Him and CP, he knows CP3 is in war.
Yeah. So
they have a rapport. So I'm not going to leave him out. But let me gather my thoughts. CP3, it's like his impact is it's leadership impact, leadership intangibles, skill set. There was at one point before we had the Kyrie, you can make the case that CP3 was the most skilled point guard. Right. When he played for the Clippers, people always say, "Oh, he's a choke artist." If you look at some of those game 7s he went in, he was performing. He actually, like statistically, all that kind of thing. CP3, the only thing that's been elusive to him is that almighty ring. That ring that, separates, a lot of Hall of Famers, non-Hall of Famers, fair or unfair. You know what I'm saying? Right. So for me, I think it means everything with legacy. He's still a top 5 point guard. To me, I have Magic in there. I have Isaiah in there. I have CP3 in there. I have I have Curry in there, and I believe I had a J.U.K. in there as well. Some people have Stockton due to longevity and things of that nature, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. But CP3 for me, if you get that ring, that's the icing on the cake, because I'm looking at it and what has CP3 not done outside of this game? Right. He's been this. I know he's been the system. I think a couple of years.
Yes. Right. He definitely is like yeah. So it's not to cut you off, but what a traditional point guard is supposed to do, he does that very well. Right. He plays tough defense. Mm-hmm. As small as he is, and as much as people was killing him for the Steph Curry memes and him looking like he was skating He's a tough defender. Even at 5'11", 6 foot, whatever. I know he's my height, and I'm 6 foot on a good day. And some days I'm feeling 5'11ish. But like he's always has a terrific assist to turnover ratio. He barely turns the ball over. Would he have 15 assists and 0 turnovers earlier in the playoffs too? At 36,
he was shooting like 60% from the field.
Yeah,
20-something, 25, 20. He was killing.
Yes, and it's like for me, like I just think that what you're looking for in a point guard is him, and I think the only reason he's not like and just from strictly playing the point guard position, why you would put him over like a Magic, and Isaiah is because he got hurt.
Ooh, good point.
Because that Rockets team, they go up 3-2 going into Game 6, and and they win the game even though he has the hamstring issue. Game 6, and they won 2 games in a row because I think they were down 2-1, and then they won 2 games in a row, go up 3-2, and now and then he gets hurt. Yeah, and with the Houston when they played the Warriors, and then he gets hurt, and then we all know they go on to lose, and that's a team with KD on it. That's a Warriors team with KD on it. And then they play the Cavs, and then the Cavs go and get smacked.
Yeah.
So it's like you can argue whether or not that matchup versus the Cavs would have worked the same way it worked with the Warriors. Right. But at that point, like if they could beat that Warriors team and the Cavs couldn't even do that, and they took over that series, and they would have won that game 6.
Yeah, easily.
And so it's like that's like for me, I just think that regardless of what you want to say about him, he has been what you need in a point guard from the point guard position. Even though earlier in his career he scored a lot more.
Right.
As he got older, he kind of especially when you get to the Clippers. If we got Jamal Crawford, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and JJ Redick, I don't really need to go out here and try to get 30.
Like 30,
yeah.
Because I remember when he was in New Orleans, I would say, remember he against New Orleans Spurs.
Yeah.
He was on New Orleans versus Spurs.
Yeah.
That dude was cooking.
Yes.
And this is a guy who was giving you like 3 steals a game.
Right.
And I'll say this: rest in peace to my favorite player of all time, the great Kobe Bryant. I'm not speaking blasphemy. I feel like if you could ask Kobe was here, he would have traded in his 2008 MVP award for Chris Paul to get that award for a ring versus that Boston Celtics that 3-headed monster or 4-headed monster.
Right.
So that was the year he lost. But a lot of people say that was CP3's MVP. And I don't have a problem with that. It was close. I know Kobe beat them head to head, but we're talking about the value to the team. You know what I'm saying? I felt that was one of Kobe's best years defensively. I think I had like 29 since like athletic peak year.
Right.
But because CP3 had to be the assist man, he had to even have a Lamar Odom, Bynum and Gasol type front court, one of the best front courts there. CP3, without him, that team was an impoverished franchise.
Right.
Just Peja, David West, and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
At that particular juncture in time. So obviously, my guy, I believe he felt he deserved far more MVPs. But that particular year, I actually thought that it should have went to the CP3. So we could be looking at a guy who has this assist title, MVP, potential ring on the horizon, all these different things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, CP3 done everything except won a chip. He just been a unfortunate victim of circumstance, and that circumstance in this particular juncture is injury. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a 6-time steal champion.
Yeah.
9-time all defensive.
Which is crazy. They have most of the time for a point guard since tied with GP for a point guard, I think.
Probably. 4-time assist champion.
Yeah.
10-time All NBA, Rookie of the Year, All Rookie Team, 11-time All Star, and he has an All Star MVP.
Wow. And he has a line in the Drake song. I'm not going to curse him here, but he has a line. Rookie of the Year, 06, Chris Paul. So far gone. Check it out. If you never heard it, it's a great thing.
But like, yeah, man, he's just been a problem everywhere he goes, man. And it's he literally like nicknamed point guard. but like he really is, man. I just think that it's always been who has been his running mate. And I think that that's ultimately what is going to go down as his Achilles heel within his career, because it's you could say like, all right, Isaiah was same height, same stature, not the passer. I wouldn't say that he's the passer that Chris Paul is. He's more of a scorer. He'll get us a bucket, but he can pass that thing too. I just don't think he was the point guard that Chris Paul is. So it's like when you look at it, Chris Paul never had, up until he got a James Harden, never had someone that was a Joe Dumars to his Isaiah Thomas. And then when he had it, I get hurt. And it's like it sucks, because I do ultimately think that I really want him to get this ring so bad. Just because he's been my favorite point guard since.
Well, I know who your favorite player, but
Derrick Rose will forever be my favorite to watch, but it's just from strictly what I want in a point guard and what I'm looking for in my point guard, just from the all around. You take away what their body type was, Magic is gonna forever be the GOAT because he's a 6'7" point guard,
6'9", whatever, he's playing center,
right, and he could pass the rock. At that height, he wasn't the defender that Chris Paul is, but it's easier to be a better defender when you're a 6'9" guard and everybody is 6'2", 6'3", or maybe even shorter than that. And so, at that point, they had Byron Scott guarding points and him guarding twos and threes. And so I just think that I want him to get this ring really bad. I think to answer the question, his legacy is, this ring would mean everything. I do think it would put him in a category that it would be hard to argue putting him anywhere less than 3 or 4. And me personally, I do think that just strictly from a point guard perspective, although Steph plays the point, I would rather have a Chris Paul.
And that's perfectly fine. Fine.
I would rather have a Chris Paul. I just think that when it comes to certain teams, that Steph works because he has a Clay. And as well as obviously Draymond and the rest of the team. But I think that backcourt works because Steph is a good passer, can shoot off the dribble, but Clay doesn't need the dribble and can get you 60.
I think without going too long-winded on it, and I think we had this conversation. I have this conversation with friends all the time. Just pretty much in short, Steph Curry, when people say he's the perfect, what they mean by that, and I understand it, because when I put my all-time team, I have more my all-time team. I like to go by. So I go by player and positions and the season. I take their peak season. Right? It's pretty much this. Steph Curry can give you a 3-point shooting and efficiency from all levels, but he moves off the ball. Right. And he can pass and he can get steals. Right. But defensively, he's going to be a seed. Right. He's going to be a seed defensively. But when you have the off-ball movement, I would say him and KD, they work so well because they're two players since Jordan and Kobe. Obviously, they're better shooters both, but they're like 2 of the 4 players in NBA history that fit in the system. Right. Not saying Chris Paul doesn't. Right. They fit in the system. But if you prefer I get what you're saying. If you prefer to build your team a certain way, you can put Chris Paul in there. You maybe lose some of the things that Curry does in terms of moving off the ball, because Chris Paul will throw it like that, stand around, do his little thing, and not really cut. You don't see him cut that often. He really doesn't cut that often. Wow. But he's going to give you something Steph wasn't defense, and then he's going to make the other players better. Yeah, because I like it. Like we're just talking about our peak season, like 08 Chris Paul. Yeah. Give him a strong big. Yeah, over. Yeah, a strong just give him. Just to think not even a strong big, bro. Just to think of him and Kobe. Right. The competitive nature. Yeah, just the fiery. Just think of I watched Chris Paul talk about and this will be my last point, and then I'm gonna go on to we're gonna move over to the next topic. But I watched him talk about when there was a streak where the West was just smacking the East. And he was talking about him and Kobe would just be like, yeah, it's time. Let's stop playing and let's get him out of here. And it's if you look at that streak, that's that
that 12 to 15, like 2012 to 2015, it just was not even close. Like that East versus West, it was just the West was blowing them out almost every year. And it's like, it's, for me, that's why I will forever, that I love the competitive nature. I love the fact that he's my height, while also being able to, everything that he's just been able to do as the president of Players Association. Rarely do you ever really see him in trouble. The State Farm commercials, the basketball shoes, like he, although when I play 2K, I don't ever really get, the only reason I ever get Jordans is so I can wear the retro. But his shoes have always been really, really good basketball shoes. And so I just think that like this, I think him winning the ring would be everything. Definitely for me, makes him top 3 point guards of all time.
And my last point on that, Chris Paul, and I'll say this, and we'll probably have a conversation about this later, but Chris Paul played most talented era of point guard. Like,
right.
Magic Johnson.
True.
From like 06 to whatever. That late 2000s, the most talented era of point guards you got to get.
Right. Yeah. And so on this next one, man, last week we did top 5 offenses. We've been doing top 5 skill positions, top 5 defensive positions. Now we're gonna finish it up. I doubt we talk about top 5 coaches. We might. You never know. Depends on what the topics are. What is there to talk about? But top 5 defenses in the NFL.
All right. So I'm gonna go first.
All right.
So look, man, I could sit up here and tell you that my team has the best defense in the NFL every year. I really could. Because you can look at statistics and all that kind of stuff. Statistics can be skewed. You have to think about who you're playing and things like that. But I say a strong defense makes up of 3 things, right? One, you need to have a strong front foot. The pass rush. You have to have a strong pass rush. 2, you have to be able to stop the run, right? And you have to have a strong secondary. Well, I'm not going to put the Ravens number 1 because one thing that's rewarding us is getting that signature elite level pass rush. Yeah, Matthew Judon, we lost Judon, okay, and we still have yet to replace Matthew Judon. Drafted up that over. So, but I'm still gonna be in the top 3. Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why? Because I understand.
Well, are you saying 1 through 5, or is this just 5?
I'm just gonna go 5.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna go 5, but my disclaimer is Bucs are number 1.
Okay,
they're number 1 for me only because. And we talked about this on our Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I just get so hyped when I talk about them. These fools, man, their pass rush is insane. Shaquille Barrett, Devin White, Levante David. Oh my Lord. The Pierre Paul.
Yeah.
Vita Vea. Look, these dudes was holding teams to like 2 yards a carry, under 3 yards a carry without Vita Vea.
Right.
We put Vita Vea, that big, dude in the middle. I know I'm missing some people. And Dominican Sue was there, man.
Yeah.
And in the back end, you have Davis. You have, the young Bucks that got that Super Bowl experience. And I feel like the defense had more to do with winning that Super Bowl, which I said that strong pass rush than Tom Brady did. No disrespect to the GOAT. So I have to put Tampa Bay because when I heard that Shaquille Barrett was returning, I was like, oh, give them the Lombardi Trophy now.
Right.
So I'm putting them there. All right. Then I got to go with my Baltimore Ravens defense. Right there, we were able to stop Derrick Henry in the playoffs last year. Derrick Henry, I believe, only about 40 yards rushing against us. That was a key because nobody during the course of the season was able to stop Derrick Henry, who he himself won the rushing title. Okay.
Right.
So what we did was we learned from the 2019 fiasco in the playoffs versus Tennessee Titans in a home game as a 1 seed, okay? And so it was all remember the Titans, as we like to say, that is the movie. And so we brought in my boy Calais Campbell, who reminds you of the late great Escalade from Amway Streetball. Yeah, I was like, he reminds you of someone always talking. He just talked.
Right.
So we brought in him. We brought in Derek Wolfe, right? So we didn't necessarily need Aaron Donald. We brought in Derek Wolfe. So we plugged that middle. We had big Brandon Williams to plug that middle. We plugged the middle up, right? We had Judon, all those guys, but he left. But those guys are still there. Okay. Patrick Queen, another year. He can chase down quarterbacks, all that. Marlon Humphrey is a top 3 corner in the league. You have him and Marcus Peters on that other side. Okay. We have Jimmy Smith returning. Okay. Tavon Young at the slot cornerback. So you see what the Ravens have done defensively, and they're a very strong unit. Okay. So that's my next defense. Then after that, I have to go with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. The reason why I picked the Rams to make the Super Bowl last year, barring Tampa Bay figuring things out, was because I felt like the combination of having the 2 best players at the 2 most important skill positions on that side of the ball. So I'm giving the best corner in the league, Jalen Ramsey, and the best, most feared, not just defensive tackle, but some people argue he's the best defensive player. Now, we may agree or disagree, or some of you may disagree or whatever on Aaron Donald. He's the best defensive player in the league. But some might say Khalil Mack. Some might say Devin White now.
Right.
Maybe it's Shaquille Barrett now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's also your choosing, or you prefer the cornerback. So I look at that defense, and I look at the guys they have on their front four. They're not necessarily household names, and they're still getting it done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Rams used to always be that core. Okay. Then I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, my rival, Minka Fitzpatrick. You know what I'm saying? Cam Hayward. Remember when the Dallas Cowboys were actually low-key doing the numbers, but sometimes you get got. Cam Hayward made the key stop. He made 2 key stops. I remember back-to-back weeks like Warren Sapp at the end of the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I gotta give some credence to the Pittsburgh Steelers for their defense. And then the fifth one. The fifth one is always tough, right? I have to go with the Cleveland Browns. I think when you see what they added with Myles Garrett, and I know I said I'm not in order, I'm just kind of give you guys these 5 defenses, but
yeah.
Myles Garrett, the 2 pass rushers, they're back in. They have youth. Everything with the Cleveland Browns, they're the one team, Ralph, that GMs, fans, everyone who watches the draft, they're like, yo, what else do they really need?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They just need to deliver.
Right. Hey,
so
I can't think of what my man's name is, the GM for the Browns, but he did his job.
Yeah. That's for me. That's my point. That's all I have to say.
He did his job. I didn't got you. I got you. I took a quarterback at number 1 that people said was a top 5 quarterback in that draft. I got Odell. I got you, Jarvis. I got Njoku. I got 2 studs to hand the rock to.
Brought back Kareem Hunt for the day.
Right. I got help on safety level, linebacker level, and pass rushers and run stoppers. Mm-hmm. So I did what I was supposed to do. Y'all better go out there and figure it out.
Yeah. So I was gonna say those are my 5 defenses. You guys can move them every which way. I believe the Ravens are top 3, but if I was gonna rank them, but I think we can keep our passion. Those are my 5. That's tough.
I really have a really good defense that I think that you're leaving off.
Underrated? You gonna say Bills, aren't you?
Heck no. Okay. Nah. But I'm gonna wait, and that's gonna be my last team that I name. So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna name teams and exactly why I believe Steelers. Obviously, T.J. Watt, probably top 3 pass rushers.
And he can stop the run too.
Right. Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, Tyson Alua. And then I think the key for them is, will Alex Highsmith be able to replace Bud Dupree?
That's all. He went to the Titans, right?
Bud Dupree went to the Titans. Alex Highsmith actually had a better pass rush win rate than Bud Dupree, but he was a rookie. So we'll see in his sophomore season, we'll be able to take that to the next level. And I think that Minka Fitzpatrick coming in and immediately having an impact. I seen he made on the NFL Instagram page, they had a under 25, which is crazy to me that he's still under 25.
This is so rich.
Right. I think that's one of the things I love as far as being an NBA and NFL fan, the amount of talent that are 24, 25, 20 to 25 years old. Like it's crazy how great, how talented, how how hard work they just put in their talent levels. But Steelers, what can I say about the Browns? I definitely agree with you on that. The AFC North, man. I've always really enjoyed them. Even when the Browns were bad, they still always had some pretty good defenses, some pretty good hard-fought wins. It's not going to be easy, especially you going into Cleveland in November to January.
Oh, Steelers fans hate playing the Browns.
Right, yeah.
They always give him a heart attack.
Right. And so, it's another team that I kind of was like, I'm not sure how I feel, but the Bears. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to put them on there. I do. They're definitely. I think they're top 6.
Okay. No, yeah. If I was going to rank them, I agree. I would put them 6. Yeah. I think at one point they were top 5.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah. You know what?
Eddie Jackson.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna throw them in the 5.
All right.
I'm gonna put them in the 5 because I think that they have someone at all levels where I'm not sure how I feel about the Rams linebackers.
Oh yeah, but that's their weakness.
But I do think that having an Eddie Jackson in your defensive backs as well as there's a plethora of teams, but then you got an Eddie Goldman, you got a King Hicks, you got a Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn on the other side, you got a Roquan Smith and leading the guys in the middle, which he was another person that made I was surprised actually because on that 25 and under team, because Devin White wasn't on it. Which I was just like,
what?
He wasn't on that team. I was like, all right. I don't know how I feel about y'all. But you put Roquan Smith on there, so I'm fuck with you.
That's cool.
I was like, you put Roquan on there, but no Devin White. Right. That's a whole other conversation for another time. But yeah, you got Eddie Jackson. It just matters whether or not can that offense keep the defense off the field, because that's where they start to, when you see them just repeatedly on the field, there's only so much you can do before you crack. So I think that defense is definitely a top 5 defense, if not top 6. I'm gonna put them over the Rams just from the standpoint of the linebacking core. Like I do, it's unless the Rams are able to create a pass rush, the passing game, it's only so much Jalen Ramsey can do guarding one person.
Aaron Donald was one person.
Right.
They get it done, but
right.
Like,
yeah.
Man,
they're definitely number 1 at their positions,
right.
Which makes it why I would understand, because if you got one person that he can definitely guard his man for 4 to 5 seconds. Right. And then you got another dude who you got 3 seconds to get the ball out. Yeah. So now I don't have to guard for that long, but in the event that it takes him longer to get to the quarterback, I can actually guard my wide receiver. So it just depends on like for that. That's why I'm not sure as far as putting them in the 5. But those 2 dudes definitely, if you're doing an all defensive team, they're definitely 1-1 at their position.
Did you see the video of Aaron Donald training with knives? You never saw that one? Oh, that was going around like a year ago or 2 years ago. But it was he every offseason he has guy coming. And he has knives. And he's like, and he's just like these moves and everything. Aaron Donald's crazy, man.
Yeah. Crazy. And that's another dude that's my height, but he probably like 2 of me wide.
All abbed up, man. They said he's abbed up like Shannon Sharp, but I've never seen a defensive tackle that size just abbed up like that.
It don't make no sense, man. Yeah. But to keep going on, I think I got the Steelers, the Bears.
You had your 5.
Obviously. So at this point, I think I'm going. I'm gonna go Steelers at 3. So I'm gonna go put Steelers at my 3 spot. I'm gonna put my Bears at the 5.
No birds.
I'm gonna put the Bears at the 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them at 4. I do think that where am I at now? Tampa Bay. You win a Super Bowl, man. I know we had the conversation about if you win a championship, that doesn't make you the best player, but it's a team sport, so it definitely makes you the best team.
Next year, there will be no question that they're the best team in the NFC.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, you got Shaq, and Dominican, Vita Vea.
David.
Yeah.
Pierre Paul.
It's a plethora. And then the young Davis corners, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield Jr. It's just like they have a veteran pass rushers and linebackers, and then they have good young talent.
And they drafted people to continue to replenish their
resources.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Right.
They trying to build a factory, man.
Right.
But that's credit to Todd Bowles.
Right. True. So at that point, I think I got 3. Oh, I put the Browns too. So I got the Browns at 2. But the Browns is really my if, because it's they're gonna go along with my last team too. It's all on paper. Everything looks good. But how are those pieces going to gel?
Don't worry,
so we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I got my Bears at 4. So I'm gonna go from 1. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. I'm gonna go Cleveland, Steelers, Bears, and the Washington Redskins.
There's a disclaimer, guys. I want to let you know. So the Ravens put a rating for if we win 34-7, you know, like America,
it ain't happening.
Ravens defense is
that ain't even happening, bro. It's
top
not
2 all time, man. They all world.
It's not happening.
So I don't know what
the only because the one weakness in the offense is offensive lines, and y'all can't create a pass rush.
Man, we need a Dalius Thomas back, man. We need Peter Bowl.
Right.
T Sizzle is like,
man. T Sizzle is not walking through that door, y'all.
We know them two is like 37, bro. He's gonna fuse, man.
But to go back to my last. Washington Redskins, y'all. Look out for the Washington Redskins defense.
Oh, their front 7 is
yes, most definitely. First of all, my boy Chase Young, my brother got a homie named TJ. Shout out to the homie TJ. Look just like Chase Young, bro. But then you got Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, and
Kerrigan didn't resign.
Nah, I think he left. Yeah, I think he left. But still, those 4 alone is a problem.
Just the back end.
But then on the back end, then they drafted Jamin Davis out of Kentucky, good middle linebacker, played weak side as well. I think when I was looking at it at a certain point, when I wasn't sure what the Raiders were going to draft, if we were going to go linebacker, I wanted us to go there to draft him. I just think he's a sideline to sideline. They replaced Ronald Darby with William Jackson III, which I think is another very, very good pickup. At this point, it's whether or not can the offense score enough points and keep the defense off the field. It's just like with the Bears. It's because they have on the offensive side, they have so much talent. So it's just a matter of can the quarterback come in and get enough points on the board to where, because the defense, man, they was locking it up. And they had them in I know the NFC East is pretty awful, but we're not even gonna go there. But like, yeah, man, that's my 5, man. I do think that the Redskins, Bears, and I think that the Steelers and Buccaneers, there's no arguing whether or not they're the top 2 defenses, honestly. I know I put the Steelers at 3. But on paper, the Browns at every level, putting Jadeveon Clowney and Garrett on different sides, then the linebacking core, then your corners and safeties. Like
I'm going to give you a sleeper. I'm not saying they're top 5. Cardi.
That was who I was actually going to put.
Ray, J.J. Watt, and Chandler Jones, and whoever else they have.
Yeah, they got some hoopers over there, bro. They especially on that defense. Isaiah Simmons, bro. Like
Isaiah Simmons, that dude can play freaking safety, linebacker, DN. So.
Yeah, Marcus Golden, J.J. Watt over there now. Right. And then whether or not can Jordan Phillips come back, have a bounce back year? Didn't play that well last year, but yeah, we'll see, man. But last little time we got left, man. Everybody always hit me up talking about what's up with your boy
Scottie Pippen. Is he on the
Scottie?
He might come back, please.
Yeah, man.
Some more rings, man.
is he just trying to sell a book, or is it more to it? I think he's just trying to sell a book.
But I will say this first. I want to send my.
I do think there's some truth to what he's saying, though.
Right. I do.
Yeah, I do think there's some truth to what he's saying, because it's like the whole. Because I just watched the Dan Patrick one, and that was when that one had me. What? Phil's a racist? But then, and I didn't realize he had it, because when I was sitting there, I was just like, yo, he wouldn't have that bottle there if it wasn't for a reason. Then I looked into it and I was like, oh, you guys pulled it. Yeah. I like bourbon, so I'm gonna try it out. Bourbon is good. I do like bourbon. I do like to drink. Have me. I'm probably gonna have me some tequila tonight. It is Taco Tuesday. But like, yeah, for me, man, some of the stuff that he said, I do think that when it comes to the things about Mike, I do coming off a little bitter.
There's some animosity.
Yeah. I do think that when it comes to the Phil Jackson thing, I do think also he's coming off a little bitter, but at the same time, to call him a racist, I'm not really going to sit here and say whether or not if he's a racist, because I don't know. But for you to be from Arkansas, you know what racism look like and sound like.
Yeah.
So then at that point, you play for this person for what you played about 10 years. You played for Phil, if not 8 to 9 years. Then Phil doesn't really help his case when it comes to the whole, remember when he said the whole LeBron and the posse thing. I know some people might not look at that, but as a black man, there are certain undertones that are used when it comes to racism. Like that, some people are not going to come out and just say straight up N-word this, N-word that. They're going to use certain words, and you never know. But also at the same time, then like the Kobe thing, like you're a coach and you wrote a book trying to expose one of your best players.
Yeah. And he even mentioned his case and his daughter. Yeah. Phil's daughter and situations.
Right.
Which, now some of those things are, I'm going to kind of leave. But But the thing is, he never, and me and our friend Ricky, we talked up inside, that's not too long-winded, but he never really showed the favor towards Kobe or spoke as highly as Kobe spoke of him.
Right.
Now, I didn't really racist, but I always said there was things about Phil that I never took a liking to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But also on Scottie's point, I think if Craig Hodges, I feel like Craig Hodges I want to hear what he has to say.
Right.
Because Craig would really say something if he was racist. Craig kind of always went to back for certain things. Yeah. Issues regarding race. But I was gonna say earlier, I wanted somebody to know because I know Scottie Pippen, family had dealt with the death of his son.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just want to say I don't want to make it sound like we're not hating on Scottie Pippen or any of that, but we know that he's been going through some different things. I feel like he's going through different emotions. A little bit of animosity toward MJ. Right. You know what I'm saying? I know you've had some sadness and stuff, but also there could be some strategically selling the book. You got the bourbon, you got the book. After the Last Dance, he said that he was going to make his own. He was going to make his own book because he didn't like that sort of betrayal. And he said the Last Dance was about MJ. Now, here's the one thing: was the Last Dance about MJ? Yeah. It was, but people want to hear about MJ, right? Because at the end of the day, Ralph, right? I wish we could have done an episode of Last Dance. Do you really care about what's Bill Cartwright?
Yeah,
the guy for an hour. So
no.
So yeah, but do I believe he was valid in some of his criticism? Sure. Was he invalid in some of those other ones? I feel like he was invalid in some of the things, but I think it was very interesting. The one thing for me though, I was going to mention the KD. I didn't like that. No. So I feel like that was a strategic ploy to continuously big up, subliminally try to big up LeBron. Yeah. KD is his direct rival. Right. And I know for a fact, I've heard people like LeBron stands talk about KD, but they don't like it. Like they use the word hate. They hate the pain of his existence and the fact that they laughed and they felt pleasure in him losing that game.
Oh, facts. So, that's how you know. That's how you know, like when someone is a legit hater.
Yeah, they don't like KD.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's especially with the way he lost. Yeah, like come on, man.
He ran out of teams, man.
He had to play And this is my thing. I'm gonna say this one thing. This will be about
and Joe Harris. Something.
Hey,
he should be on the team right now. Replace him for another.
Facts, bro. Jeff Green didn't show up. Blake played pretty bad in that last one. James was literally handing him the ball and getting out the way. Like this is my thing, and I'll end with. I do think that. Hold on, I don't know what's going on. Fuck, I think somebody's trying to call me, but I'm gonna say this last little piece. I see Shannon Sharp and talking about whether or not like AD hasn't been asked to do the thing that LeBron has been at, and I totally understand that. But like for me, LeBron, even when he lost Kevin Love and Kyrie, they weren't asking him to play 48 minutes. Like it got down to a certain point that he played every minute of Game 5, which is where he had the historic. The next game, he might have missed 5 minutes at the most. And then in Game 7, he plays every minute, including the overtime game. So it's like, for me, like, I think that's where I don't like the criticism. It's like, for me, I watched that game and was just like, yeah, Kevin Durant is definitely the best player in the league. Because at a certain point, for him to even get them, and you can ask Tar, we were sitting there watching. I brought my tablet to my homegirl's little brother's graduation party, so we sitting there watching it. I put TNT up on my iPad. And was like, I was like, KD's gonna hit a 3 to win the game. And then 10 seconds later, he hits that shot, and we're only the only black people at this all Hispanic birthday party. In the back, there's mariachi music, a lot of Modelo's and tequila going around. And us 3 black dudes is like, oh! And then come to find out, homie, if he had my shoe size, the Nets would be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Whatever happened to the hometown discount, man? Right. The rest of them will be blind, man.
Right. They was like, wait a minute. Nah, bro. His foot was on the line. Get him out of here. And I'm just like, but then he goes on and he goes 0 for 6 and hits that terrible shot. But you can just tell he's gassed, bro. Like, James, what was you on, bro? He's literally handing the ball over and then goes standing in the corner.
But remember, it's different than, pouting in overtime. LeBron,
right.
And nobody else on the team was trying.
Right.
One thing if the other people on the team were trying, they're missing shots. The KD gave it.
Yes. Yes.
But they got hit with the injury bug.
Yeah.
And, he put the team together, so they were blamed for that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, don't just count them out next year.
Right. So, yeah. So,
all right.
Let us know if you think, to go back to the topic, Scottie Pippen was tripping or not, if you paid attention to it at all. But thank you all for watching. We had a good show, man. Good looking out. Always pulled up to the crib. In this AC, baby. AC, baby.
Hey, baby.
What it do, baby? Make sure you follow us, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, the He Say She Say channel. Make sure you follow the page on at J.U.K. Boyz Sports Show on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram as well at KYNGRALPH, as well as Instagram and TikTok.
And you can follow me at the.houseofhoops on IG.
All right, thank you all. Peace out. Bye.